The opinions shared on Teal Time with Hope reflect those of the host and guests. Unless there's an expert in their field joining us, this podcast is for education and support only and does not replace medical or mental health advice. Please always consult a licensed professional for your personal care.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Till Time with Hope. I am the host, Hope, and I hope everyone is doing well. Well, I'm recording this on the 2nd of February. And for those who know, I had just celebrated my 55th birthday, even though I feel like I'm more like 25. Who am I kidding? I think I act more like I'm 15, but I digress. No, seriously, y'all, it was a great birthday. I didn't do much. I'm actually not one to do a whole lot on my birthday. I've never been one actually to do that. I mean, I'm not saying that I haven't had get togethers where I've done dinner with friends, close circle of friends, which is kind of what I prefer versus extravagant celebrations with a group of people or even birthday parties. I just kind of prefer it to be pretty laid back. And that's what I did yesterday. I'm so grateful to celebrate another birthday, but my mind has been on a lot of other things that have been going on and that will be going on this month that I'm happy to report, like some good stuff with ovarian cancer organizations. With that, I wanted to say that I was on the Till Talk podcast with the lovely Jennifer, and that will be posted hopefully in the near future. In addition to that, I will be a model for the Be the Difference Foundation at the end of this month for their fashion show. I'm excited about that. Nervous, I think I said in the last episode, but I'm excited. At any rate, hey, do you like the intro to this podcast? I wanted to spruce it up a little bit, maybe up my game in the world of podcasting, and I thought that would be just so amazing. Or like the youngsters like to say, so dope to have an intro that has a British accent to it. So if you want to know how I did it, it's through artificial intelligence, AI. So if y'all are not about artificial intelligence, please don't hate. I just think it can be used for good, and this is one of those examples of good. All right, y'all. So moving on to the main subject is that in addition to what the physician assistant at UT Southwest said when I had my last checkup with her, she said I was a unicorn because she had never met anybody that has not had maintenance therapy and has had cancer 3 times and has survived this long. I'm one of the long-term survivors, as I like to say. She also said, who's to say that the autoimmune disorder that you have, Hope, could be one of the reasons why you've continued to fight off cancer, why you've continued to be in a place where your body hasn't rejected chemotherapy. And that autoimmune disorder, ladies and gentlemen, is something that I've had for a very long time that stems from the exposure that I had while I was in the U.S. Army stationed in Fort McClellan, Alabama. But getting back to what she said, I was like, wow, I mean, never thought about it. And that, y'all, is why I titled today's episode An Unwanted Gift. Because when she said that, it made me start to think about it more. Basically, this autoimmune disorder, there's a much longer story, but the main point of today's episode is to show a connection. So when I was exposed to these things, chemicals, metals, and toxins at Fort McClellan, Alabama, back in 1998, unbeknownst to me, of course, unbeknownst to all of us that were stationed there, and this is also, y'all, why I have service connection for the autoimmune disorder, because the government is acknowledging somewhat that more likely than not, the things that I have gone through with this autoimmune disorder was caused by my time in service. Let's just say that. And even though I got exposed to it way back when, and it was first diagnosed by biopsy in 2004, I didn't know what was the cause of it. My mom wondered if I had been exposed to stuff when I was in Germany, but I had no clue. And even though way back in 1998, I remember hand to God saying to somebody, are we okay being around a chemical school? And I laughed it off. They laughed it off, thought it was just kind of funny. Yeah, not so funny. But it was in 2017 that a former drill sergeant sent me an article. The article, I think, was called Toxic Exposures Fort McClellan or something along the lines of that. I'd have to find that article, and if I can, I'll definitely put it on here. So there was a little bit of relief when I found out that there was a reason to why my body was going through all the things that it had been going through for all those years. And I felt a bit of relief because there was a root cause. It wasn't something just happened from nowhere. right? It didn't run in my family. There's no evidence that either side of my family has this. So it wasn't genetics. So, been dealing with this for a very, very long time. Again, exposed in 1998, diagnosed in 2004 officially, but we know that it's been going on for a while. And then 2017, found out that, was from my time in service. But here's the thing. Going back to what that doctor said, the physician assistant said at UT Southwest, she said, who's to say that autoimmune disorder is not one of the reasons why you have done so well against such a horrible disease? Could that be true? Could there be something about this autoimmune disorder that's actually working in my benefit, despite it not being something that I like or want or would want anybody to have to go through? Is it somehow, good that I have had it or that I have it? See, because here's the thing to understand. T cells are the smart sensors of your immune system. This is going off of Google. Unlike other cells that just wander around, T cells are designed to identify a specific problem and destroy it. They are the specialized hunters of your body. Because of the chronic inflammation that I've had since my exposure, it's like my security system has a glitch. And Google gave me an analogy. Most people have a security alarm that only goes off when a window is broken. But because of the autoimmune disorder, my alarm has been screaming at a full volume since the late 90s. It's exhausting and painful because it's constantly detecting a threat in my healthy tissue. But here's where the unwanted gift comes in. Also, think of it like an accidental protection. When cancer enters my body, it usually tries to hack the security system to turn the alarms off so it can grow in secret. But because, hey, my system has already this state of hypervigilance with those T cells already active and loud, the cancer couldn't hide. My body was already in high alert mode. So when the chemotherapy, when it started doing its work, it had a pre-activated immune system backing it up. That's profound and fascinating and intriguing and just honestly wild to think that this not so great thing, this autoimmune disorder that y'all has affected my skin, on and off my scalp, my mouth. Yeah, it has not been fun. And over 2 decades of dealing with this, there were some times where I thought, holy cow, this is horrible. I've never liked it. I don't understand it. While at the same time, now there is a possibility that this autoimmune disorder could be the very reason, maybe not the very reason, but a reason as to why my body has done so well with fighting off cancer and it doing so well, all things considered. It's like a security alarm system or team that never sleeps because of the autoimmune disorder that's been in my body for decades. And it's been a burden to live with, no doubt. But when the insidious disease called ovarian cancer showed up, that internal security system was like, I'm already here, I'm awake, and I'm gonna fight this thing. It didn't need to be quote unquote woken up, if that makes sense, because it was already there. Now, is this a definitive truth? Has this been proven unequivocally to be the reason, or say a reason to why I've continued to live despite it all? No. However, and this is a big however, medical experts are increasingly investigating this actual theory. While, yes, it is still a hypothesis, researchers are finding compelling links between autoimmune T cell activity and improved cancer survival. I'll put the link to this study in the show notes of today's episode, and it's called Autoimmune Survival Study 2024. It found that women who developed an autoimmune disorder after being diagnosed with advanced ovarian cancer had dramatically better survival rates. This, of course, doesn't apply to me because the autoimmune disorder was diagnosed years before I got cancer. The findings of this study, those with autoimmune activity survived for a median of over 8 years compared to only 2.6 years for those without it. Oh my gosh. There's got to be something to this. The why. Researchers believe that a hyperactive immune system acts like a biological backup, continuing to hunt down cancer cells even when chemotherapy isn't active. And then there's another one called the anti-tumor T cell priming, Medical experts recognize that in lichen planus, which is the name of the autoimmune disorder I was diagnosed with, the immune system is driven by aggressive CD8 plus T cells, which I'm not a medical expert and not going to go into exact details of what that is. I'll spare y'all that because that would be kind of a yawn, right? Now, the theory in many ovarian cancer patients, the tumor is cold, meaning it hides from the immune system. But for someone with a T cell mediated autoimmune disease, the immune system is already quote unquote hot and hypervigilant. And again, that's the autoimmune disorder that I was diagnosed with called lichen planus. And then there's the expert view. Some oncologists suspect that these overactivated T cells may cross-react with cancer cells, making the chemotherapy significantly more effective because the body's natural defenses are already fully mobilized. Additionally, chronic inflammation is a sentinel. There is a concept in oncology called the immune surveillance. Experts are studying whether chronic lymphocytic, apologies if that is not the right pronunciation, chronic lymphocytic inflammation, the root of lichen conditions, keeps the body in a state of permanent patrol. And then there's the chemosynergy. Research suggests that chemotherapy can actually boost these pre-existing T cell responses, creating a powerful combination where the drugs kill the main tumor and my army-trained immune system cleans up the rest. I mean, that's mind-boggling to me. I don't know if this is something y'all have heard of as you listen to this, if you've already known about some of this, or if this is completely blowing your mind because, wow, I never even put that together. Like that could be a possibility that having an autoimmune disorder could be one of the things that is keeping a patient, a survivor, a warrior, a thriver. All of the above, right? In a place where they can, in a place where their body doesn't reject the chemotherapy and they continue to keep living. I sure didn't. It was only because a physician assistant mentioned it and then me deciding, you know what, I want to kind of read up on this. And sure enough, there is some potential truth to this. Again, it's a hypothesis, but it is something that experts are looking at as an actual theory that could be true. I mean, just like, wow, y'all. I don't know. I just feel like that's the word that applies because, wow, talk about an unwanted gift. And I guess the last thing here is the clinical perspective of why I haven't needed maintenance. If my immune system is already doing the work of quote unquote patrolling the gates, maintenance therapy, which is designed to keep the immune system active or block specific growth pathways, might be redundant. My body is essentially providing its own natural maintenance. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with y'all. I just find it beyond fascinating, to be honest, beyond mind-blowing, because I have had to deal with this autoimmune disorder and for a very, very long time. And I don't talk about it a lot because there's just so many things that I've dealt with that, I guess in a way, y'all, it's like I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I don't like that. I don't like pity. I don't like people, just like, oh, poor Hope. And it's just a me thing. It's just a me thing. And I feel like if people knew, how do I say this? If people knew of everything that I deal with on a daily basis, they would feel sorry for me. And see, it's not easy for me to even say that because by saying that, people might automatically feel sorry for me. Because, wow, I didn't know that you were dealing with all of that in addition to dealing with going through cancer again and then again. Like, what? Holy cow, Hope. But don't feel sorry for me. At the end of the day, I think there is something that we can take away that despite something bad, which is the autoimmune disorder and cancer, of course, there's also something good that has come out from, potentially anyway, from the autoimmune disorder that has kept me alive all this time. To be able to celebrate another birthday, to be able to celebrate over 14 years since I was first diagnosed. And so it's like you're taking the bad with the good, right? Like my mother used to always say, what the devil does for bad, God does for good. And it's like, okay, maybe this is case in point, right? Like this autoimmune disorder, not necessarily saying it had to happen, but because it happened, it's afforded me the ability to continue to fight and live and thrive. And it's just wild. I know I have a bigger vocabulary in my brain, but I'm keeping it simple. It's wild to think about. It's an unwanted gift, but perhaps emphasis on gift. I just wanted to share that with y'all today because there could be somebody out there who does have an autoimmune disorder, and even though they're not fun by any means, and they're not all created equal, some are worse than others and some are not as bad as others, but there may be something about having an autoimmune disorder that could actually help us with fighting cancer. I know there's going to be more research done in it, and I hope that I can be a part of that research. I mean it. If I can somehow help scientists, researchers understand the whole autoimmune disorder and fighting cancer and how they can, from what I read, learn to mimic that to help people in the future, then that would be a wonderful thing to do. Maybe I could have that be a part of my legacy that I leave behind. Anyway, thank you so much for giving me a listen. There are some new listeners out there, people that I have met while doing some rideshare driving. Thank you for not just saying you're going to check out this podcast, but reaching out. One of you reached out in a comment, and I'm really appreciative of that. Please remember that hashtag sharing is caring. So share this podcast with others. And if there is anybody out there that would love to sponsor this podcast, please do reach out to me with a message in the Spotify app itself or at tilltimewithhope@gmail.com. I'm very open to sponsors, but even if I don't have a sponsor, y'all, let's share more of the things that are good. And I believe awareness is beyond good because there are still too many women out there who do not know what this insidious disease is about. And because of that, they don't know what the symptoms are to look out for. But if we share, because we care, wink, it will help to get that awareness out there. Are y'all picking up what I'm throwing down? What? I hope so. I never plan on losing my silliness or goofiness. Just in case anybody wonders, I might have to tighten it up a little bit when I have a guest on the show. But even then, I want us to be able to laugh and cry and joke if need be, because it is a serious topic, no doubt. But laughter is medicine. I truly believe that. So I guess that's all I've got for y'all on this one. Again, if you want to learn more about the study that I mentioned, please click the link in the show notes of this episode. And please read the show notes, because there could be something in there that, like, if I made a mistake and I said this instead of that, or just if there's some kind of correction that I need to make, it'll be placed in the show notes. So I appreciate that so much, as well as appreciate you giving me a like, a listen, a follow, and clicking that notification bell so you know when the next episode is going to come out. By the by, I hope to have a guest on the show for the next episode. She's with the National Ovarian Cancer Coalition headquarters here in Dallas, Texas, and she's a really cool lady, and we connected so well when she had me on Till Talk. There's just a lot that her and I have in common, and I'm really happy to know her, and I'm really happy that she is open to be a guest on my wee podcast. So, all right, until next time, this has been Till Time with Hope. I am the host, Hope. Be well, stay safe. God bless. Bye for now.